Hello and welcome to my unicorn bubble. I was hoping for today's video to be a video about Second Ride to the Wall, which is like a memorial ride. However, it's not. So as the title suggests, my boyfriend came off his Hayabusa. It just reminds me that things just happen, don't they? And you never know, so just be careful out there. So on Thursday, Hills decided to get new tyres fitted. So we went to the garage. This was literally about 5 o'clock, and if you know Warrington, then the traffic in Warrington is just horrendous, as it is like any time of day really. But the 5 o'clock rush hour traffic, and on Thursday it just gets even worse than any other day for some reason. So it's not the best idea to try and get somewhere at that time of the day. So this must have been about 6-ish maybe. So the traffic was just getting worse because like all the business parks, there's quite a few business parks around where we live. So I'll put a map somewhere after this. So we needed to go basically from town just across. I would call it a roundabout, but it's just like sort of roads joined together. It's not really a roundabout, where if you're in the wrong lane, there's no way that you're getting in the right lane unless stopping the whole traffic and everything. So there's literally 2 roads from 2 business parks joining in onto that roundabout, and then obviously people from town and people from other side of the town, and then people trying to get out of the town. As you know, filtering is legal on a bike, so what we do normally, we filter through traffic. So that's what we've done, but because I hate it, sometimes I just like to just sit in the traffic rather than squeeze myself and try to avoid people's mirrors on cars and stuff like that. So Phil went first. He always filters through because he's really impatient and is not going to sit with me in the traffic. I was just sitting there, slowly moving with traffic, and then but he was moving forward, and in the end I got stuck behind like 2 buses and like a line of cars. There's 2 sets of traffic lights before turning off to my road. So I got stuck behind the buses at one set of traffic lights where Phil went in front of me, so I couldn't really see him on his bike. Basically, as I was waiting at the traffic lights, I had a police car going, and I saw it coming from town, going round the roundabout and going towards where we were going, and I was like, well, this is not good. You know when you just get that weird feeling that you know what's happened, but you think like, oh no, it was literally just there in front of me, like why would it happen? So I waited until the lights went green, and then I was still stuck behind these 2 buses. I just saw a blue flashing light in front of me, and I was like, oh, this is not good, is it? I was like, right, I need to go and have a look. And then as I was coming around, the police was there, like around the corner. I'll put a map in here as well because it's just easier to show than, because if you don't know Warrington, then you won't know. But there is this, stupid set of traffic lights and stupid roads like joining together and then splitting apart, and you just have to be in the right lane. So yeah, as I squeezed through, like past the buses, and I stopped because my lights were red, so there was traffic streaming from town trying to get across the road. But then I saw the flashing lights, like the police car, and then so I moved a bit forward, not into the traffic, but like just so I could see. And then I saw his bike parked. Somebody pushed his bike away from the road. Thank you, whoever it was. Then I saw like the mirror, and I was like, oh no. So my very first thought was he hit someone, and I was like, well, at least he's not hurt. I'm not that bothered if he really hit someone. I know it sounds bad, but I didn't want him to be hurt. So I moved a bit forward, and then I saw a bunch of people just like sort of leaning over someone. So I looked down and I saw his shoes and his jeans, and I was like, why? Like, no. So obviously then your mind just goes blank on it, so I started moving into the traffic. My lights were still red, but I was just like, just moving forward. I didn't even care. I'm like, well, he's on the floor, I might as well be there as well. So I just literally sort of drove through traffic on the other side of the road, parked my bike on double yellows, just jumped off, left the bikies in there because I don't even know what I was doing. Ran across the road again, where all these people were. My helmet was still on because I didn't realise, I just like ran towards him, and then there was a doctor on the scene. You know, like when you watch a movie and then something happens and there is always a doctor at the scene. Well, there was this guy with the NHS badge and he was an actual doctor, so yeah, thank you as well. There was already obviously 2 police officers there, and I just looked at him and I was like, what happened? So there was this woman that was, I don't know what she was doing there, just basically trying to help. She stood up and she started talking to me, and she was like, oh, are you his girlfriend or something? And I'm like, yeah, I was literally just stuck in the traffic and stuff. And she was like, oh, he's alright, the bike just like went from underneath him and stuff. And then I realised he literally just had new tyres fitted, so be careful with new tyres, just ride carefully. Like, I don't know how else to explain this, like just be careful. Because then later on we've realised that as he was coming from the bed, it was raining all day as well, so the roads were slippery. Funny thing was as well that the guy who fitted the tyres, shout out to Bromley Tyres in Mornington by the way, he even said be careful first like 200 miles or something, because there is a coating on the new tyres, so it will be slippery, especially in a wet and stupid shit weather like it's here. If you live in the UK, especially in the northwest, you know what the weather's like. It's like 90% raining and grey, so you can't avoid it, but you just have to be careful. Yeah, the woman basically just explained what happened. I didn't see it because I was stuck in the traffic, but I'm quite thankful that I didn't see it really. I had enough looking at him on the floor. So obviously paramedics and stuff were there. And then this policewoman, I had my helmet still on, and the policewoman comes to me with this little notepad and a pen, and she's like, do you know this gentleman? And I looked at her and I'm like, let me take my helmet off. So I took my helmet off and I'm like, that's my boyfriend. And she was like, oh right, okay, what's his name and what's his address? And so she took a bit of like some details of him about him from me, and she was like, have you witnessed any of this? And I'm like, no, I literally only just arrived, did you not see me? Like, I didn't say it, but I was just like, I was in so much shock I couldn't think of anything. So I was just stuck there, literally, like, just, there was a bunch of people around him, and me, instead of like going there and like sit with him and like whatever, or I don't even know, I was just stuck there like just staring. And these people that were trying to help obviously had to go home, so they sort of left a little bit, so I sat with him on the floor. And obviously the ambulance arrived a bit later on. He couldn't move his leg at all. They thought like his wrist and his arm, there was something wrong with it, but he didn't have any like neck injuries or anything, or head injuries. He didn't hit his head. He literally must have just like when you go like this and then your back end slips, you just go like so that's probably what happened. Yeah, so these people went home, so it was just the police officers and paramedics. And if you live in Warrington and you're where Riverside retail park is, the traffic is impossible. Like, there's millions of cars, and Phil came off his bike right in the middle of the 3 lanes that join the main flow. So from 3 lanes, it happened to be 2 lanes that cars had to go. Like, oh my god, well, it was horrendous, but it was funny at the same time. People were getting so nervous. Anyway, so yeah, so the ambulance came, then they took him in the ambulance. I moved his bike to the car park in the retail park. Got to ride a boost there. Probably the only time, but yeah. So I moved his bike, then I jumped on mine and was waiting for the ambulance to leave so I could follow the ambulance and go with him to the hospital. So I turned the engine on and I'm waiting, and the ambulance didn't move until like half an hour later. And then yeah, so eventually we moved, so I was literally in my bike, so this is the ambulance going, and my bike was literally stuck like this on its ass, because I know where the Warrington Hospital is. Oh yeah, they took him to Warrington Hospital, so I know where that is, but I never had to go there. Like, touch wood, I've not got wood, I'm just gonna knock on something. So I had no idea where we were going, so I was literally just following the ambulance that tight, and then we got to the hospital. They took him to A&E, put him on a bed. That was about 7 o'clock there, so yeah, between him getting new tyres at about 5:30 and going into A&E 2 hours or an hour and a half, not even that, so yeah, money well spent. and there was a bunch of people and nurses and doctors, and everybody was just coming, oh hi, my name is this, hi, my name is this. And there was this one doctor that came in and he was like, hi, my name is, I can't remember what his name was, but I'm a doctor. And I'm like, well, that's good that somebody said a doctor. They gave him paracetamol in his vein. Yeah, basically just drugged him up a little bit more than he already was from that morphine that he got in an ambulance. And then they were just like pressing onto his like shoulders and legs and hips and everything. I think the only thing that really hurt was like the right leg and the hip, so they thought he might have fractured his pelvis, which was great, which obviously we didn't know what was going on, so we had to wait for an x-ray. So this is where it all started. We sat there for like, I don't know, for so long. We were waiting like 2 hours for an x-ray or something like that. So I don't know, I heard like a guy 2 cubicles down just saying that he doesn't want anything up his ass. It was quite funny, to be fair. Like I was a bit relieved once we were there in the A&E. I was a bit relieved because he was awake, and oh, they had to cut his jeans off because they didn't know whether it was broken or not. So everything else was okay. Literally didn't damage any of his leathers or anything. And yeah, so he went for an x-ray. Obviously I phoned his mum in between, phoned his dad, and then about 20 minutes later they brought him back. We were waiting for results for about half an hour there. So they said nothing's broken. Then the doctor came over and said he needs to try and walk, because if he can't walk they're going to have to do the CT, because the x-ray showed that there's nothing broken, but if he couldn't walk there might be some like slight fractures and stuff. So what we had to do, basically put his shoes on and try to walk around. So it was like learning to walk all over again. So basically he had to stand up and then like just move around the bed in A&E. So we've done that about 3 times. So because 1, he was drugged up, 2, he's not had anything to eat or drink all day, and 3, it was hurting like mad. It wasn't really easy, was it? So we've done it like 3 times, walked around the bed and sat down, and it was just exhausting really for him. And then the doctor comes in and she was like, so did you manage to do it? And we're like, well yeah, we walked a little bit, but it's just like he's feeling dizzy and all that. She was like, right, okay, that's fine, that will be from all the morphine that he's had. But we're gonna discharge you. And then basically she told us to get some paper from the reception and stuff like that. So the reception was around like 2 or 3 corners, and it literally could do like 3 steps. So we grabbed all our stuff and walked out, which was about 10 steps, and he had to sit down because he just couldn't walk. And I'm like, how can you send us? You can see that he's like almost dying there or something. He felt so dizzy, he went white, like so pale. So I just nicked a chair from the A&E, but at this point we were in a hallway, and then this like random doctor or nurse appears and she's like, oh, how are you feeling? And I'm like, how do you think he's feeling? He looks pale as so you can't walk. Like the doctor said we can go, but you can't physically like walk in there, so what do you want us to do? And then she was like, oh, do you want something to eat, or do you want a drink? Do you want a hot drink? And obviously, well, I said yes. So she told us to walk back on the bed. So they gave him like a ham butty or something, like a ham sandwich, and they made him a brew. Once he had that, he felt a bit better, woke up a little bit. So we walked to the reception, got the paperwork that we needed. Yeah, it was 11:30. Phoned a taxi. So we're waiting. 40 minutes later, phoned him up. The taxi's obviously nowhere, so I phoned him up. And mind you, Phil sat there in his, oh, he didn't have pants. So Phil sat there in his t-shirt and a bag jacket and this like funny dress that he got. He didn't have any pants, so he had his underpants, like his boxers, and this dress over it, and these massive shoes, boots that he was riding in. Oh, it was well funny. So about 10 minutes later, a taxi actually came. Phil got in the taxi, I followed them home. But Phil's bike was still in the retail park where I moved it when this accident happened. So we got home with a taxi. Phil went in the house, and I'm like, so I just asked the taxi driver to take me back to pick the bike up. So he took me back. Well, I literally thought that, I don't know why, but people started nicking bikes around Wellington. So I was like, oh please, I hope the bike is still there. I looked it up before as well, but yeah. So we drove back and it was still there, but the parking light was still on. And I was like, how did I even do it? I didn't know. Like, obviously I didn't know that the Hayabusa, when you lock it on my bike, on my Honda, when you lock it, the last click is the steering lock. But on a Hayabusa, it's not. The last lock is a parking light, the one before last is a lock, and I didn't know this, so I locked it. I turned the key all the way, and I didn't realise, because when I was moving it, I was in so much shock. The last thing I was thinking about was the fucking parking light. So when we got there with the taxi, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to move it, am I? So I tried to start it, obviously it didn't start. I'm like, I said to the taxi driver, like, please can you wait 2 minutes, like, I'm just going to have to sort of try and start it if it starts or something. And he was like, do you want to push? And I'm like, I've never done it, but go on then. So this is about 12:30 at night. The taxi driver was pushing me up and down the Riverside Retail Park, me trying to start it, he like running behind me. It was raining, and I was like, well, this is great. So it obviously didn't start, so I locked it up again, made sure I locked it up properly. I put the steering lock on. So the taxi driver took me back. So £15 later and 6.5 hours in the A&E, we were at home. And then the next day, in the morning, I went to pick the bike up. The taxi driver that was taking me back to the retail park to pick the bike up was a biker as well. He said, also, have you got a full licence? And I'm like, yeah, I've got a 600 parked over there. And he was like, alright, and then, what bike are you picking up? And I'm like, Hayabusa. And then he looked at me, like, he looked in the mirror, and was like, are you going to be driving a Hayabusa? And I'm like, well, yeah. Like, oh, well, it's just because, anyway, it's just because you're a girl. And I'm like, I looked at him, I'm like, well, pretty cool, isn't it? And then he just went like, oh yeah, and then he tried to like sort of back off from the situation, and I'm like, it's alright, like, whatever. So he took me there, and then obviously I couldn't start it because battery was absolutely flat, so it was literally parked outside Halfords. So this was about like 11 o'clock in the morning. So I went into Halfords, and I said to that woman at the reception, I'm like, can somebody help me? Like, my battery is completely flat, like, in the motorbike, and I just need somebody to jump start it or something. So I was waiting there for like 15 minutes until one of the guys decided to come down, and I was explaining to him basically what happened and stuff, and then he looked at me and he's like, did the accident happen about 5 o'clock by any chance? And I'm like, yeah, it was probably about 6. And he was like, oh, is that why I had to be at work till 7 because the traffic wasn't moving? And I was like, oh shit, this guy is not helping me at all. But no, he was really nice actually, so shout out to whoever that was, and to Halfords in Warrington, in the Riverside Retail Park, because he helped me and he pushed me down the, I never bump started a bike, I had no idea what I was doing, so he explained to me what I was going to do, because he said the starting things that would like jump start the battery, they're too powerful because it's a car shop, not a bike shop, so he said it would be too powerful for a motorbike battery, so we're gonna have to bump start it. So he explained to me how you do it, and I was like, well, okay, let's try not to fall off the bike. So yeah, we pushed me like 4 times down the road, so we managed to like bump start it and everything, and basically after that I just rode it home. It's okay. I wouldn't say it's not like 100%, but the fairing is scratched on the side, but the crash bobbin on the right side, obviously where it fell, like, it snapped off, so it held the bike up pretty well, to be fair, because the fairing is not scratched because he didn't slide, because he was only going like 10 or 15 miles an hour. Maybe not even that, because he was literally just coming out from a bend where he fell. The paint is basically scratched off, and the mirror was bent. Obviously it was still, the exhaust was still sort of like, there's a little dent in the exhaust from last year when it came off it. So it just like buffed it a little bit more. That was all really, it's road still like completely fine. I think it's time to sell the bike. Well, that's what he thinks anyway, so we'll see how it goes. I think he's not going to go to work for a few days because he can't walk. Like, he's all alright, but it's obviously the pain in the leg. Yeah, so the doctor said it might be pulled muscle in his groin and some like internal bruising on his like side and on his bum, and he scratched his hip or his side exactly where he scratched it when he had his accident last year. That's had his game really beaten up, so yeah, but we'll see how it goes. Like, he's trying to walk a little bit. He can walk up and down the stairs. Normally it takes about 10 seconds, he takes about 10 minutes, but Oh, it's quite funny to watch as he's like climbing up and that. Yeah, so that was it. That was a little story how his accident happened. Thank you very much for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.